I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good morning, Matt Spracklen. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful day?
Well, it's raining here and it's 3:30 in England, so it swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, well, we do have that email in our draft inbox with Caribbean Sunshine, so if you do need to call on that, I could always send that your way.
Bring it on.
Love it. Well, Matt, tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time.
Well, I believe I guess it's from the podcast. I guess I'm sort of coming to the end of the second series of the first podcast I've ever made. So it's good. It's good fun.
Yeah, tell us the name of the podcast and what you do there, please.
It's called Mainly Music. Clues in the title. I'm a music editor for the world's largest Instagram channel for a city. So we run at London on Instagram. We've got 2.1, I think, million followers. So we get like 25 million people watch what we do a week across the channel, and it's mad, man. And like I cover all the music, and that sort of led me into setting up this podcast, because a lot of what we focus on is obviously in London, but I talk about music around the world. So I started a podcast to enable me to just talk about more music and all that sort of stuff.
Wow. So who did you learn that skill from, the skill of the podcast side?
Well, I don't know if I did. I don't know if I have learned it yet. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it was a bit fresh. It was something I wanted to do for a while, and I'd done some radio, and and the producer of the radio station that I was on is a very well-respected, well-known producer, and she was always saying, podcasting is great. It's like it's a big thing, and a lot of people listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff. And I was like, well, I could do it. And we just tried it. We recorded a pilot back in June, and it was just really, really well received, and it sort of kicked on. So it's kind of one of those make it up as you go along things, but it seems to be pretty popular. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, you've been all over the world with your voice now. Well, with your talent of what you do via music, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We get like our listeners are literally all over the world. Like it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yesterday I was talking to one guy, an older guy from Jamaica. He was visiting, and I said, do you know what a podcast is? He said, no. I said, you have an iPod, right? He said, yes. And I quickly went on. I needed to swipe across one time. And I said, right, it's right here, the podcast icon. I never saw that before. And I think there's so many other people that will discover podcast very soon. It's definitely catching fire, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I must hold my hands up, actually. I'm not a big listener of podcasts. I think, to date, I probably subscribed to maybe 9 or 10.
That's a lot, Matt.
But I don't listen to them all. I don't really get time to listen to them. But I definitely have been listening to more since I've been making one. Just because I always want to better myself, want to hear what other people are doing and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm listening to a few now, but I've never really been a big radio or podcast listener until recently.
Why will you continue to repeat the skill of doing the podcast? Say that. Sure. Why will you continue to repeat the skill of doing the podcast?
Why will I continue the podcast?
Yeah.
Hosting a podcast is an amazing way to connect with people, and as we've said, like all around the world, and like now with you as well. It's on Instagram and Twitter and things, you can talk to so many people like that, but actually be able to engage like via voice. Like voice is massive right now. Do you know what I mean? Like I've been using Anchor as well. I bet the app Anchor.
I've just recently, like last week, heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, and it's the fact you can just jump on, and then people can reply and call in your radio station, all that sort of stuff. It's fascinating, and I just think it just takes like engagement with your audience and with the people that follow you to another level, which is amazing when you've got a big following.
Well, tell us one other thing, Matt, you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
Photograph. I've been a photographer for a while. Well, for a good 10 years actually. I've been a photographer, and music, and the place I am in London, like it gives me access to some pretty amazing moments. So I've photographed, like Green Day. I've travelled with like Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics to do Jimmy Fallon show in New York and all that sort of stuff, and Bob Geldof and Joanne Cash in Nashville. Like photography for me, it was kind of my gateway into what I do now.
Wow.
Through music, and it's something I continue to do. I'm not sort of like, I don't do a lot of paid photography work right now just because I don't have the time, but it's one of my passions, so I keep on top of that.
It's two passions. How does it make you feel to be doing two passions that interlace with each other?
Oh, it's amazing. Like, man, if you can do what you love and do it every day, it's amazing. To me, it just doesn't feel like effort. So, and music's the same, like whether you play it, whether you record it, whether you produce it, whether you are involved in the production of it, whether whatever it is, like whether you're reporting on it or just even going to watch, it's music, isn't it? So yeah, music, photography, hanging out with people, all that sort of stuff. It's like the best job in the world.
I'm guessing one of the challenges you have is how to not do too much of the thing you love, right?
Yeah, that can be a challenge. I mean, like every day is different, so you never know what's going to turn up in the morning or in the evening, and you'll be in a place one moment, and then suddenly some friends have dropped in to where you are, and then you end up going somewhere else, and then someone's like, well, there's bands playing in town, let's do that, or there's an after party, and all that. Yeah, you can have too much of a good thing, I guess, but you just got to be. Do you know what I say? I say that you just don't stop. I feel like if I stopped for a bit, I'd get weary, but you just don't stop.
Suggest to someone out there why they should do what you've done by, again, interlacing your both passions and, just living a life where it's definitely filled with bringing purpose as well.
I think like in this day and age where so many people picture themselves as starting a business or becoming an entrepreneur or I don't know, even just starting a podcast, and getting yourself heard about whatever you want to talk about. I think it's important to do because I think it's one of those things it's in the back of everyone's mind. Like whatever you do, whatever you work in, it could be any sort of job. It could be a job you love, could be a job you hate. I think in the back of your mind, there's always something that niggles you every now and then. Goes, oh, imagine if I was doing that, or if I could make a living out of doing that. And I think we're in an age now where achieving that is more accessible than it ever has been, just through the technology we have on our phones, being on our pocket and stuff, and obviously accessibility to like so many events and people. The fact that you can reach out to anyone on Twitter or Instagram or LinkedIn, as you did to me. So I mean, that's amazing, like just for me now to be able to talk to you, completely other side of the world, completely different time of day, about the stuff we love. I mean, how amazing is that? I think that's as good a reason as any for, just go for it.
I love it. Well, amazing audience. We are live with Matt Spracklen. Again, you can connect with him via his podcast, which is Mainly Music with Matt Spracklen. Matt, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Matt, what is your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory?
Yeah.
My earliest childhood memory was being in the first house my family ever lived in, and I was playing on the floor with the train set, and I was not quite 2 years old, which is mad. Like, I don't know if you're supposed to remember that far back, but I definitely do. I know I wasn't 2 yet because we moved house, like we moved town when I was 2 apparently. So yeah, that's my earliest memory. But I guess like a lot of people, most of my earliest memories were just listening to music, the music that my dad played and stuff. So
why do you think this memory is so clear with you and the train?
I don't know. I like trains now. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. It's just sort of one of those weird things, isn't it? You remember. I don't know why I've held on to it.
Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Yeah, go for it.
I love the idea that you love to move, one, and that you love the value that goes with being able to zut through, if you would. Zut being my onomatopoeia word, right? But just it seems as though before you know it, you're gone. To see you playing with that in your hands and understanding that is in your hands, the choice to be that person, is pretty fascinating how that connects for me.
I love that. Yeah, I've never thought about that before.
If we fast forwarded to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
When I was 12,
Yeah.
my favorite song when I was 12 would probably have been Bohemian Rhapsody, because it was the first Queen song I ever heard, and Queen are my favorite band, and like they were pretty much the reason I fell in love with music.
Amazing how it connects, right?
I know. I'm seeing Queen for the first time on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. So like,
wow,
it's going to be a big moment. I think I'm going to have to take some tissues.
Yeah, definitely get the camera as well, right? Have the person with the camera on the side. Yeah.
100%.
Well, Matt, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Matt?
Sure.
Matt, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Oh, no.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
More.
After having 1,001 conversations in 3 months in 2016, I developed a workbook. The name of it is called Yours. It stands for Your Own Unique Real Self. And the idea is you answer questions similar to these to uncover your own unique real statement, your mission statement, if you would. If you, Matt, had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Matt Spracklen, what would you say that is?
Freedom brings happiness.
Love it. Just like a train whistling through the wind. Matt Spracklen, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
No, but just thanks for taking the time to listen. Check out the podcast, find me on Instagram, and do all that cool stuff.
Love it. Matt Spracklen, thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Very, very, very appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.